Welcome in, guys. We've got the JBFA VIPs in the house, and Junior's here, who's been on the channel before, and Andrew. He reckons he's got the trademark in the dark in the car, so he's going to stick with that after a good showing. As I said, he's in the top 75 there in that video the other day. So we've got Junior's team up on the screen. He's got the JB Plus logo, repping it for the boys, and is sitting at 1,255 overall. So a really good spot, mate, and did you mention that you've traded Yongi out for Jenkins? Was that right to start? And we're going to work out what to do from there.
Yeah, that was the main move for Yongi to go. But the rest, that whole bench is confusing. I don't know who I'm going to play. I've got nobody I can loop. Gozzy's probably the most annoying person. So
Yeah.
he's probably the one that I'm looking at. Possibly moving. I mean, I'm happy with the one trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Goz actually this week's probably the good week to hold him, given with Ricky out, you should see probably close to 80 minutes for him, which should mean a decent score at least.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we know even when he gets 80, but still, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right with that one.
Yeah. He'll probably be solid.
I just, yeah, I feel like everybody's going to just start moving ahead of me, and the urge to like keep ranks. But I started off the year with trying to just stick with guns and cheapies. I've done that, and now I know the prevailing sort of strategy is to try and make as much money as you can early in the weeks, in the early part of the season. So, yeah, got you right, because he's probably going to get a lot of minutes. But is he going to make enough money for me? Oof.
Yeah, well, I think the 38 will help, and then if he can drop a 40 this week or something like that, then he gets that low break even again, and at least for the next couple of weeks, he can be an easy hold. I made the question I've got for you. I think this will help people out as well. And that bench, like we've got Purdue who scored a 50 the other week, but is probably going to be in that 20s to 30s type of range, especially against the Cows this week. I think you could play a Jack Cole over him. Tamale on that left hand side. He's had three good scores, but he had a low one the week before, and he was very low until that last 15 minutes. And you've got Goz that's probably a good chance of scoring near that 38 this week. So yeah, it's probably much of a muchness. I think a lot of people are looking at their benches, and I think it's a good place to start because I'm getting a lot of questions on this week. Is that probably just go with the guy that you think is the safest to get like a 35 plus would be the call. And if you have a bit of risk about you, then guys like Tamale would be a solid risk type of play. Guys
Mm.
like Jackson Purdue, probably the same deal. Whereas if you want that bit more safety, then probably a Goz and potentially like a Jack Cole could be the two that you play at 3 and 4. I made the
Who do,
question.
who do you reckon? So you go with your question, and I'll go with my
Yeah, 'cause
supplemental question.
I was gonna ask to sort of get this chat going is who are the who are the sort of the top guys that you're looking at? Let's just say in the next month, who would you like to build to? Who are some of the guys you're looking to target? We'll work out how we can get
Um,
there.
yeah, well, Nafahu White, because I was watching your latest video, and I've always liked Nafahu White. Didn't have the guts to pick him up. Then he started rocking all those 60s.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, I mean, I just started bringing these other guys in, like Katoga, but Nafahu White, I like Sharp. I like the in terms of the eye test, um, and the ceiling guys, eh? So money making and those with really high ceilings. Um,
Okay.
those, yeah.
So do you want
And I
White
guess
this week?
how would I get him, Gozzy?
Well, you need to sell Sandon.
Hmm.
That'd be my only bit of advice because you can't get there
Hmm.
any other way at the moment.
Yes.
Um, Unfortunately, even if you went to like instead of Jenkins, you got like Dylan Egan, you probably you wouldn't have enough. Unfortunately, by what 30 odd. Yeah, you'd be like 10 or so short, 15 short if you got Egan instead of Jenkins. But if you went Jenkins, I think Sandon, he comes up against the Broncos and Panthers after this week, and I think he's got a bit of money to make. But if you really want
Mm,
that better scorer in White, you could trade Sandon to him, and then have him in your starting 17, and then just play one of those other guys. Could be the play if you really want him. I don't think it's too late to get him. Like I think he should get 50 minutes going forward, and he's playing so good.
mm. Of the guys on my bench now, who's probably the top four or the four guys with the highest ceilings?
Ceilings. Well, we definitely have to put Cole in there, given he got 66 last week. And then I think it's Cole and Tamale, to be honest. So that, like, I'd probably just switch Cole with Purdue. If you weren't making that trade from Sandon to White, then that's probably the highest ceiling guys, given Cole, has just done that. And they got beaten that game too, so that's pretty cool. But Humphreys and Hubner definitely. If you're looking at guys in your starting side, then a little bit worried about Toya this week. I think Katonga is
Yeah.
a smart one to play in that 17, but Toya against Latrell, that's gonna be a fun matchup for him. I hope he can hold his own. That'll be a cool coming of age for him. But yeah, is there a high chance that he goes in the 40s and 50s? I don't know, but he did get 38 in base, just all base on the weekend, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and I could. Do you reckon using Toya to go up to White, or is he too cheap?
I just think with center, it's a tougher position than what a half is. Like you've got Reynolds, Cleary, Cole, Humphreys. It's probably a world where you end up bringing like a Nico Hines in
Mm,
or something like that later down the track. So like you'll build to. There's always like plenty of good halves going around. Jerome Hughes might drop a bit in cash, and you might go for him. Like there's heaps of guys there. Whereas center, he's scoring really well, and he's up to 394. Like he's made 160 odd K, but that 394 it's only pricing him at pretty close to 30,
mm,
and he's hitting high 30s in base. Like those games
mm,
where he finally scores at a try or something, if he goes 50 plus, then that's cool. But you could do either one. You could do Sandon or Rob, because you have Tamale and Purdue in there that are decent cover as well. So they both work. It probably just comes down to personal preference, because Sandon Smith
mm,
comes out and he's priced at 28, and he's got a 32 and two mid 40s
mm,
outside of this 20. So like he's just had one bad score as well. So there's
mm.
probably no bad call. It's more just personal preference there.
And then I could just hold, because these are the times where I start making really bad calls.
Yeah. Well, none of these would be. I think if you were to get rid of one of them to make the upgrade to White this week, I think it's a good move. Um, I think it's
Yep.
as long as like trading's fine as long as it's not just putting in guys that are very risky, or just they're a bit of a crappy pick. Like that'd be a good pick and helps your 17 this week as well and going forward.
And I only went. Reynolds was a was a sort of a hail mary last week,
Mm.
thinking that him and Haas would get another 100, and Reynolds would do really well. And then, of course, they had that freaking tsunami weather, and that
Yeah.
cancelled all of that. And so 45, I guess, was pretty good. And I had to sell Watson to get to him. Well, I didn't have to sell Watson, but I was thinking of going, keeping that score ticking over. Yeah,
Mm.
but now, and reflection, oh gosh.
Yeah, well, they're kind of the ones where it's like, well, it could work out if he keeps crushing it, but the weather obviously played a factor, and I think he'll keep doing well. But injuries and stuff are more his worry.
Mm,
But yeah, it's more just those ones where you're like, oh, yeah, it'll help me this week, but is it better to have Watson longer term? I like that. They're the kind of questions to ask. And if Reynolds banged out a 70, you'd be like, yeah, happy days. And he might this week, which would be cool. But yeah, they're more the trades you look at and you go, oh, am I just looking at this as a 1 week, like, yeah, fun play? Or should I look a little bit more long term? And with you haven't done too bad. You've held one trade. So like you haven't max traded yet or gone crazy, and you're in a good spot as well. So yeah, I think if you made that extra trade, sweet. If you held this week as well, that's fine, because guys like Sandon, Toya, They all have a chance to make money. Stewart's not injured now. Goz should make money. Everyone in your squad is in a position to move forward and make some cash. So I think you're doing well. You set up well in wing fullback. You've got both for more in the edge, which helps you in center as well. And then then you got the three best mids, and it's probably more just hooker now. Like the one to maybe look out for next week, just to
Mm,
help your squad out, might be like a Riley Smith if he comes out and gets good minutes. That could help just have that cover for hooker and get another cash cow in as well, rather than going for another one of the other cash cows this week. You can grab another one next week.
yeah, he's on the radar, definitely.
Mm.
Mm,
There's
I'd
so much,
really
there's
love to
so much
keep it.
cash out there at the moment, so
It is.
can't really go wrong. Like, and that's where you're like, do I pay up a little bit and get just some more guaranteed, like 50 type of scoring, or just hold off and let the guys cook and let the guys do what they're doing. They're doing a good job.
Just keep making the cash, eh? Keep making the cash.
Yeah, well, pretty much everyone is. So, and then the other guys, the guns that are just getting the points for you, which is keeping you up in the top ranks. So, better start than previous years, mate. So it's good to see.
Yeah, that's right.
May as well bring Andrew in, mate, if you want to jump off your mute there and see if you've
Yeah,
have you updated any thoughts this week, mate, on general trades.
yeah. I've been sort of looking at the double cheapy strategy, so getting two of Kautoga, Dylan Egan, or Jenkins. But the one thing that I'm slightly worrying about with that is it better to get Thomas Kant in instead of one of those cheap guys just to actually get the better scores and make the same amount of money? I guess, yeah, be very interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's something that I'm kind of going back and forth with myself, and I've got personally, I'd be picking Wong over Kant. I think that he's going to do well, but I just think it may be a longer runway than what Thomas has, and there's a little bit of talk around that maybe it's 2 to 3 weeks more for Lucas, and he's going to come out the side or move back to the bench. That's my worry with him. But in the short term, I think that they're both cracking scorers, and the question is like, do we? When I was asking Junior there with the future planning, I think that comes into it, is looking at, okay, who are the top guns that I want, and does bringing in the two cheapies this week then allow me to get to one of those top guys that I want, or do we think that someone like an Afahu White could be a 50 type of guy, like close to a keeper, or do we think Wong or Kant can hit 50 pluses and be that type of guy as well? That's the question, and I don't think either one is incorrect. I think they both can work. It's just, I don't know. Do we have, like, if you've got most of the guys, like Junior's sitting here with Campbell, Ponga, he's got Fermor, he's gun center slash edge. He's got he's got Haas, he's got Cleary. When you've got the majority of like the top guns right now, you're looking at the Crichtons and Eli Katoas and McInnes, AFB, like these types of guys. They're all great, but like, are they standout knockout picks that are like best in position? Or you've kind of, I know, Andrew, you're in a similar boat. You're doing really well, obviously. You've got a majority of those guys. So is it worth trying to get another one of those top guys, or do I get a really good scorer in the mid range that's going to score better than the cheapies and hold him for a good while and get the take the better points and maybe decent cash rises as well? Like they both got almost zero break evens as well.
Yeah,
Is that the play that we go off? That's my
yeah.
question, and I'm leaning
Well,
towards that way, but it's hard.
yeah, no, and same question for me because obviously I don't have Cleary and I don't have Watson, and
Okay.
so yes, do I just get one of the cheaper ones or do I play the Cleary against the Cows game and hope that he scores 60 and then you buy him for 40k cheaper next week and overall your team value is better.
Yeah, well, that's something you can muck around with for sure. And if you have enough, if you have enough cash available for
I
next week to get to him, then maybe that's your play, and that's where like
yeah no
that like 1 week future planning works.
yeah well yeah no I have unlimited cash. If I get two cheapies, almost no matter who I sell, I end up with like 500 grand of cash. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's that trade-off. How much do you take short-term scoring versus longer-term cash generation? And I guess the other thing that I'm just toying with is I don't really have sort of clear sells in my team. It's people like Tom Starling might be, well, is probably getting to the end. Matty Nicholson is
Yep.
sort of doing less well, and obviously Sandon Smith with that low score is on a much slower cash path now. So it's like, which of those do you take out?
Mm.
And probably I have the most edges, so maybe the answer becomes Nicholson. But yeah, that's the other thing I'm wrestling with a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think that one becomes super easy because I reckon that question will be answered for you with scores this week and or next week and minutes. Like for Starling, if the 55 minutes stays, then it's him. For
Yeah,
Nicholson, if it's 65 minutes and he doesn't get any attacking stats and he can't hit a 45 to 50 plus, then it could be both of them. And with that 500, you could go to Cleary and another gun as well and upgrade both positions with that 500k. So
oh,
if you don't
totally.
have someone clear this week that you really want to get to, and the the thought of Cleary and another really good edge or something like that next week or the week after in Preston or like these types, if that sounds better to you, then maybe you just go the cheapies this week and look forward to 1 week of maybe not as good scores, but like guys like Katonga and all that can come out and get 40 anyway. Jenkins, whatever else, and then you use the cash next week. You don't sit it there for too long. It's only 1 week, and then you launch next week.
Yeah, no, 100%. I seem to have just gone a bit quiet, so I might just turn this back on.
Hey, sweet. Now that was no, it's good. I really like that, guys. Surprised I haven't got too many extras on today, but just means you guys get the deep dive, which is good fun. A lot of people are worried about Hopgood there, Andrew, as well. I think that I personally think he'll be fine, and people are worried about like Dylan Walker. I just thought I'd mention that because I didn't mention him in the buy hold sell video, but I just think he's probably not a buy right now. But last week I thought he probably was, but it looks like there's going to be some 50s in his game, and I think we'll just stick solid with him, guys. And then the only one I didn't mention was Latrell Mitchell, but him at center, I think it's a very clear just wait and see. He's very, very expensive, and see what happens. Does he actually get the goal kicking? There's a few question marks around that. So wait for Latrell. A lot of people are asking about him because he's obviously hectic, but yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him to score 80s, 70s like we could expect from him, and people were going to captain him and stuff in round one, coming back from injury, and on in the centers for sure as well. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to focus on, mate. And Junior, while we're here, mate, we'll just finish it off with you. Have you got any further questions since you're sitting there?
In my other team, I got Brimson in there, and whether he needs to go or not. I mean, Yongi is probably clear for me, but Brimson, does he stay or does he go?
Well, I think they're like longer term, they both probably do, but Brimson has the highest chance of going back to those really good scores, and they have a pretty good run of games. So if I can this week, I'm going to hold him if it works out and sell Yongi instead, and then give it the week. He got 49, so his break evens I think like low 30s, which is fine. And if he still looks crap this week, then we can just move him on next week, and it's an okay price point. So
yeah, I think after tonight, I'm just gonna wait and see and just be happy with the one trade. I mean, I'd love to get Nafahu White, but I'll just bank some money in. I mean, bank that trade. Sorry.
Look at you go.
See what happens.
Are you showing restraint, Junior? What's going on? 2025, new year.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Wait for Haas.
Yeah, I know. I did need to shout you out as well. I did mention on the channel a few days after it happened, but the week that he did get 100, you did tell me that he was going to get 100, and you're like guaranteed he's going to get 100, and then he rolled out 106, and Oh, it hurt the soul. And there was a little message in the wrap up. You're like, see, I told you.
What's your profession, Haas?
Oh, so good. He was incredible that game. Uh, Bloody Cowboys, wasn't it too?
Loving
Naughty
the
boys,
content, bro. Loving the
naughty
content.
boys. Well, hopefully gets the offloads back in the dry this week. I think he will.
No
Are you
problem.
guys gonna stick captaining him? What's the play? Yep. Andrew?
Yeah, I think almost definitely. I think, yep.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
yeah, go on.
I mean, Terrell May was obviously good. I can't captain Cleary, but I've been a little bit skeptical since I watched Cleary in Vegas, where he seemed to be trying to stay on the field
Mm,
a little bit more was my take. Watching him, he was very much sort of bringing others into the game rather than looking to grab it himself, and so.
Mm.
The thing for him is he's got to stay on the field for the Panthers to have any chance.
Yep. No, that makes sense. Definitely. And he's done that last few years too. So I think owning him this week is probably enough for me. And hope that if he does go well, it's a bit of a jump on everyone else. And then yeah, will May play 80 again? I think without injury he won't. Um, and then Haas, if it's dry, we should get some offloading, which it looks like it will be for their game. So, and he is averaging the most. As much as how wild is it to have those top three there? Like Yo has lost money, but he should be in the 800s. But you got May at 833 and climbing fast, and then Payne Haas at 983. It's the year, even more the year of the mid this year, and the halves are well, the highest is Cleary and Hines basically at the same price. It's pretty wild. So yeah, shout out to the big boys. They're going against each other this week. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
So,
no,
you have, have you made your choice, JB, for your captain?
Captaincy, yeah, I'm gonna roll with Haas, but trades, no, not yet. I'll have to do some further thinking tonight. I think there's a looking forward section of it that I'm getting at. I think I need to do a little bit of that myself, and I think today's video helps with that. And the stuff I put in Jamie's thoughts in the WhatsApp of just the guys to sort of look at over the next few weeks, and there aren't a lot that are standing out in those top prices. So I'm like, well, do I just lock in what I think is a pretty good score in Wong and guys like Riley Smith, if he actually gets the minutes, like I could target him as a cheapie next week, and like we don't have to get all of the cheapies. So if you go double cheapie this week, you'll have all this cash and you might not want Riley Smith the following. So I'm like, yeah, there's so much cash available right now. Do we lock in one cheapie and some for points, or yeah, cheapies this week and then go double points next week? I think everyone's going to end up in a similar boat. It's just going to be that slight bit of luck as to which player you pick that kind of gets you ahead of the pack. But yeah, that's what it feels like. It just doesn't feel like you can go really wrong this week. It's just which one's going to be the best, I suppose, which is fun.
and
So,
how confident are we on Wong's, I guess, position in the side? Because and also that I guess it's almost like a mental regret thing. Like he's made 200 grand, you bring him in now, and he loses his spot, and
Yeah.
mentally it might be harder to take than some other things.
Yeah. Yeah, for me if he didn't look as good as he does, then like if he'd had a 40 in there after that sort of first game, they got whacked in that first game. So since then he's looked great in all three games, and like he got 55 in 67 minutes on the weekend, all base, which is crazy, and he's a beast. That's what I'm looking at with Nafahu White, and why I think it's easy to buy him still is because he's playing well enough to earn that 50 to 55 minutes, and he's been their best forward. It's not even close. So that's where the trust is in him, and I think Wong has earned his spot. Where I think Radley's going to play 13, and I think Butcher's going to be one of their middles off the bench that's going to play some decent minutes because they haven't got really much there. So
Yeah,
I think that when everyone's there, he'll play the 65 or so, but he's shown that he can score well enough in that time. But when
totally.
they're not there, like this week or maybe the following week with Radley, then I think he gets 80, and he hasn't got any attacking stats yet. So it's a fun pick. I did mention
Yeah.
at the end of the week that I was like, oh, I'm just done with mid-range edges. But But yeah, I don't know. He does look different, and same with Thomas Cant. Like we've got two great options this week for guys to score well, and we've seen Wong that when he's on the park, his PPM is really really high. So it's not just these few games. Like even last year, it was 40 and 50 minutes for a 38 and like a 42 in those times as well. So he accumulates really quickly. And we know he's a gun. He showed it 2 years ago, and he just started really poor, and the team sucked last year. So I know there's a lot to it, and then a lot of my brain just says just get the two cheapies and move on. But yeah, it might just make it a bit easier.
Yeah. Well,
But then
and
like yeah,
the safest cheapie is Kautoga, is it? And obviously Jenkins is safe for a spot, we think, but scoring is for outside backs is always risky. I was just trying to get a gauge on Dylan Egan, and he's meant to be very, very good, but how confident are we on minutes?
yeah. I think I'm happy to lock in about 40 minutes. And I think that's enough. And if one of those edges goes down, he takes the starting role for probably 60 minutes, and they might have like an RFM or something that can cover a bit if one of them goes down. So I think there's a little bit of upside on that. That if an injury happens, he's the next guy up. Like he's super young, but he's the next big thing in terms of an edge at that club, and Luciano's on the other side of it. That's my thoughts in getting him, and he's the cheapest,
So
which just allows, and he's got lower break. Like he's gonna have the lower. He's priced at lower, means that he doesn't have to score as well to dominate. And we've all got pretty good teams. Like you don't have to start him and trust that. So I don't know. I think they're all good, but yeah, 60k extra for me for Katonga and him doesn't need to happen. I don't know. I think they're all good. It's just which one you want to go with. To be fair,
For me, the Jenkins move was because I feel like he's in a better position to make money or to make points than Iongi.
yep.
And so that's, I mean, it might be a waste of a trade because he's only got he's got a shelf life.
Maybe like he won the spot on merit, and then Toto got injured. So that's my thoughts on it. Like he got ahead of Casey McLean. So when Toto comes back, McLean should come out unless Jenkins plays bad. But he's had two really good games in a row. So, but yeah, you probably don't need him longer than they've got a stretch of three really good games. So I think yeah, he's a pretty safe pick.
And Sharp would be my guy.
That's right.
To come in there.
Yeah,
he doesn't kick much, but man, he's
so good,
fast, and he's always around the ball. He's just got a knack of being around kind of like Tedesco, always around the ball.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think he's a good pick this week as well. It's just that extra bit of cash and if you need it, like if you're sitting there with, I don't know, maybe Garrick's your best wing fullback, then I think adding someone like him or Greg Marzu could be fun. I'd probably go with Sharp first. He seems to just be involved in everything, but like in your situation, you probably don't need the three gun wing fullbacks right now. Maybe once Tamale gets to the end of his tether or something like that, or Purdue, like you upgrade and get the third gun wing fullback then. But I don't know, it depends how risky you want to play it as well. So,
but how good would it be to have him, and he's like the dual half fullback, and then by the time these other guys, because I feel like he's pretty solid in his position.
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
He's playing great.
And so and when these other halves have had their fun and stopped earning, you still got that cover there, which is pretty cool.
I just think you'd be able to lock in those wing fullbacks and just trust the scores are going to be there. And if the Knights play really well, and if Titans play really well, you'll have hectic weeks. You've got Campbell, Fermor, and then the Sharp Ponga. But yeah, it'd be hard for you to get him this week, which is the problem. But maybe it's the next week thing or something like that with that extra cash you got. Rather than Nafahu, you go for someone like Fletcher next week if you're still happy with how he looks.
I think I'm going to hold. I mean, like you're both right. Right now, it's about everyone can make money, and people are just loving. I mean, they want to trade and get all these cheapies, but I think holding those trades is going to be like Mitch said in one of the earlier videos this week, he's just going to try and hold as many trades as he can. Well,
Yeah, well, he's saved 3 so far, and he's yeah, it's put him in a pretty good position, and later down the track will be good. But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun how it all shakes out. We do have plenty of trades, but also you don't want to, yeah, just use them for the sake of it. And all these guys in our teams, most of them are making money or looking pretty good, so we're just sort of fixing the edges and trying to make everyone score well. But it's okay to have a couple that aren't, and aren't losing too much money, or only making it slowly, sitting in your emergencies, because you're not counting them in your 17 anyway. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, mates, and good luck to you as well, Andrew. Sitting
Oh,
pretty
thank
and
you.
and doing well for the JBFA crew, and Junior. You've got less catching up to do than myself, but yeah, you're doing great, and great to have you on here, mate. That was good fun.